issue of power supply is a major concern for Nigerians. Still, despite all the investment in that space, there seems to be moving in cycle. No tangible progress can actually be said to have been achieved so far in that space. Let's put some context into this and get reactions from an expert who should know. Dr. Atiku Tambuwal is a senior member of the board of AEDC and former MD of TCN. He joins me right here in the studio. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning and Happy New Year.
Yes, same to you. Glad to have you here on Business Daily. You listen to Nigerians there.
Sure,
the consign has remained largely, despite all the investment, nothing seems to have changed.
Well, I sympathize with Nigerians in this respect, but I know a lot is being done to address the issues, but it's not enough. What needs to be done is to have a strong commitment from all stakeholders, government, and also the operators, the distribution companies, to ensure that customers are satisfied in terms of electricity supply and also in terms of what they pay. Customers should pay for what they consume, not based on estimated bill. And as you know, the efficiency of the system and cash flow depends on billing efficiency. And this billing efficiency is directly linked with metering. Metering is a very critical element in order to drive the liquidity of the industry. So to me, it has not received what attention it should. And a lot needs to be done in order to get this metering right. Of course, there are a lot of issues there, particularly the funding, the finances of this metering initiative. As we have had a lot of initiatives by federal government, even the discourse themselves have gone to look for vendors who can supply these meters and get them installed to the customers. So a lot needs to be done. On the regulatory aspect too, I think there's a lot that has to be done to enforce the installation of these meters. Each and every distribution company has its own target for metering. So that should be properly monitored and ensure that it is met.
Indeed. If you look at issues, this complaint has largely been there. And a lot of Nigerians are beginning to wonder whether the discos are deliberately denying them this meter so that they can continue to exploit them through estimated billings.
Well, like I said, I don't agree with that assertion because, like I said, metering is a critical element to determine the efficiency of the system. The losses that we encounter in terms of ATC and C losses are all as a result of a lack of metering. So if a meter is there, at least you are sure of billing all the energy that goes into the system. So without the meter, I think the distribution companies too are losing because estimation itself is not the proper way of determining the revenue inflow. The distribution company could lose, and in some other time, the customer can be cheated. So the best way is to have a meter so that nobody is cheated at all.
But why is getting meter a major issue? I mean, we've been talking about this. What is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult to meter Nigerians? Over 12 million electricity users, not like we are metering 200 million people. Why is it so difficult for us to achieve that over the years?
Well, as I said earlier, it is really has to do with financing of these meters. We know that customers are not supposed to pay for these meters. The system or the distribution companies should be able to source for this meter and put into the individual customers' premises. In the absence of funding from the government, which I know the government is doing its best, but it's not good enough. So a lot of efforts has to be made in terms of sourcing the financing for this metering. One aspect which to me has not been fully exploited is the amount that is being kept in the tariff for provision of these meters, which is being warehoused by the regulator. I don't think it is properly utilized in terms of giving this money out to the distribution companies to buy the meters. So that should be seriously taken into consideration, as well as other sources of funding to get these meters available to the customers.
All right. There is another issue again that is also a major concern for electricity consumers, the unreliable national grid. It collapsed almost like some people will say every Eke market day. Why do we keep having this issue? The drops in the power now, there's massive drop in power supply right now, and it is attributed to the issue around the national grid. How do we get it right?
Well, it is a complicated matter when you are talking about the grid collapse, because it can happen due to a lot of factors. It can be from the generation side, it could be the transmission weakness, and it could be also the distribution aspect. So this put together, I think all stakeholders have to work towards ending this bad phenomenon in our system. I'm happy to say that last year, 2005, has not been as bad as 2004 in terms of the grid collapses.
But the beginning of 2006 is not looking good.
Well, there is one, I think, collapse, if I can see. But I think the measures that are in place should be able to address and keep this thing from happening. We have the Nigerian Independent System Operator in place, who is now saddled with the responsibility of ensuring the reliability of the grid not part of transmission company. So it has that mandate, and I believe if properly enabled financially and whatsoever, they should be able to address that issue and on the part of the stability of the grid. And like I said, we need to keep on improving on generation. Generation too has its own issues in terms of gas supply. Sometimes we rely also on hydro. The water level sometimes goes low, and that's a seasonal variation. So all this put together are real reason. And I believe if we all work together, we should be able to address it. One other aspect which fortunately has minimized is the vandalization of this critical infrastructure of transmission. It has reduced slightly, so we quite appreciate that. And if we completely get it off our nomenclature, I think we should be able to have a stable network.
Indeed, talking about having a stable network, another issue is a liquidity crisis. There seems to be revenue shortfall, some sharp practices between revenue collectors and, of course, where the revenue is domiciled is also a major concern. And people are saying that this lack of proper management of resources is a reason why some of the discos are still relying on government bailouts. Don't you think this is hindering investment?
Well, of course, like I said earlier, liquidity is a very fundamental factor in terms of stability and of the national power supply. So to ensure that revenue is properly generated, sharp practices are really one of the things that part of the AT&C, that's the collection losses. So as much as possible, the distribution companies must be able to farm in the revenue, all the loopholes that are there, the sharp practices by our personnel, and it is not being done alone. Even the customers themselves collide with them. So it's a collective responsibility to ensure that we have done the right thing as Nigerians. Pay your bill as and when due, and also for the collectors also to ensure that this money goes into the coffers of the authorities or the distribution company. So that's the only way we can ensure fairness and transparency in terms of the revenue collection.
Another thing, we were talking about national grid earlier. There is also, people are calling for grid modernization. That what we have now is obsolete. It's more like something that we built many years ago. What kind of innovation do you think we need to bring in to prevent this constant grid problems that we're having?
Well, right from the onset, I think the grid is being supported by SCADA system, even though it's not fully implemented. But I believe with the emergence of the NISO, Independent System Operator, and the World Bank assistance to ensure that this SCADA system is fully in place, once it is fully realized, I believe we should be able to get our grid in a better shape to ensure that we don't have disturbances and system collapse. So I believe also we need a lot of new ways of maintenance of the infrastructure, that is the transmission company should be able to have a better way of maintaining its assets to ensure that they don't fail. And also we look at smart grid, if possible, to ensure that we use artificial intelligence and other modern ways of controlling our network.
Indeed. What about renewable energy? Are we taking advantage of that? Because if you go to almost every part of Nigeria, there is access to one renewable or the other, solar, wind, and so many of them. But it does seem that we are concentrating only on the national grid, the power supply from the national grid using gas and turbines and the rest. Why are we not taking advantage of other renewable energies?
I think we are. We are, in the sense that...
Are we doing enough?
Not enough, but the Rural Electrification Agency that was set off has been doing a lot in terms of providing mini grids to our universities, to health institutions, and to some communities. So I think something is being done in that aspect. What is not very much in place now is grid-connected renewable energy system, which I believe must be in place in order to get the grid robust enough to satisfy our industrial, commercial, and other uses. Right now, the solar renewable that is being done is on a smaller scale, maximum 2 megawatts, 1.5. But we need large scale from 50 megawatts, say, 100 megawatts or more to be able to support the grid.
Another issue again is this issue of plants sometimes operating far below their installed capacity, which I'm sure you are very familiar with. That there's chronic underperformance with regards to plants, some averaging 38% availability. How do we, get some of our plants to perform optimally? Just that we'll be managing for decades and no proper investment. Even the Siemens agreement that was signed many years ago doesn't seem to be, making anything better for Nigeria.
Yeah, when you look at the generating plants, most of them are overaged, some of them 30, 40 years in operation. Kainji is maybe in the 60s.
Absolutely.
So a lot need to be done in terms of retrofitting and expansion. Some of them already are out of market. So for you to get parts in this modern world, you may not be able to.
Can't we build another one with modern facilities?
Of course, that is what is supposed to be. When you consider the case of Mambila, how long have we been talking, singing about it? For ages, nothing has been done. So we need to do more. Zungeru, fortunately, has come on board last year, and we are also having other new entrants. And I also heard that Adeleke 1,300 megawatts has also been commissioned, but I am not sure whether it is
operational.
But all those things are what we need so that we boost the power supply.
Talking about boosting power supply, you have been in the system and you are still in the system. Before, as a former MD of TCN, you have seen a lot, and of course as a board member of AEDC, you are seeing quite a whole lot. What is the issue with Mambila Plateau? Over the years, government kept saying at a point there were reports that there was a budget for it every year, but research and investigation did expose quite a whole lot with regards to that project. As it is now, nothing is happening at Mambila Plateau.
Well, all I can say is that Mambila, like you and me know, has a lot of challenges, legal in the first place, when those farms claim that they have been given the contract and then it was cancelled. That has taken a toll on us on the legal proceeding. It was, I think, a resolve of late, just before the coming of Buhari government, when at that time, and I mean, a lot of money was pumped, as you know, to kickstart the project. What did we see? Unfortunately, the money ended up elsewhere in Bureau de Change operators. So these are the issues that are affecting Mambila. We need strong commitment from government to ensure that those people who are saddled with the responsibility of ensuring its take-up and implementation are real trusted people who can deliver. Look at the case of Shiroro. That power station was built under Babangida in less than 3 years, and it delivered. So why don't we adopt that kind of strategy and provide experts and presidential a team that can work out of not necessarily link it to the ministry, because ministry has been given that responsibility. It failed. So something special team has to be constituted and ensured with the responsibility of making Mambila a reality. So that's my own take on it.
So the bulk of the problem still rests on the government.
Of course.
Because if the issue of, if there are budgets and there's nothing on ground and government is not making effort to investigate, to find out what happens, it means government itself is complicit with regards to the issue of the lack of power that the people are having. This cut across, almost all sectors. And Nigerians are saying, give us steady power supply. Even the unemployed Nigerians are saying, give us steady power supply. We may not need to bother you. We're not asking for too much. Why can't government just deliberately declare a state of emergency? For example, we've seen presidents coming and appointing themselves as Minister of Petroleum. Why can't you appoint yourself as Minister of Power, Minister of Agriculture, and address the critical needs of Nigerians from that regard?
Well, I concur with you. Maybe that's what needs to be done. So government should really look at it and come up with strategies to ensure that power supply is given due attention it deserves by declaring such a state of emergency to ensure that Nigerians get adequate and reliable power supply.
Then the issue of decentralization of power is also another issue. Although you all know about the Electricity Act of 2023, which is there to foster state and private sector participation. How much of advantage do you think states are taking to take hold of the power generation within their various states?
Well, that is a good development, and we have seen a number of states coming up with constituting the regulatory, state regulatory agencies, and also doing the needful, but it's not enough. When you look at it, less than 30% of the states have really keyed it into it. So we need a lot of commitment from the government. Like the real essence of that power sector act is to have everybody participatory, not only federal government, but state governments who are also stakeholders in their own communities to ensure that they have power supply. So I think those who have not considered that should urgently set up these regulatory bodies and start licensing investors, because it will be much easier for the state government to engage investors and get localized power generation than rely on the federal government, because we have relied so far on it for a long time, nothing comes up. So I think this is an opportunity for the state governments to really contribute and ensure that they also participate fully well.
In the past, what we heard from state government and, of course, private sector is the fact that we can't do much because electricity is in the exclusive list. Now it's out of the exclusive list for almost 2 years now. Like you said, only less than 30% of states have embraced this, and the commitment is still not even as much as people expect. Like in the case of GBR local government, for example, in Katsina State. If we're having the state, managing electricity, state is closer to the people, and of course the local government, GBR is a local government that can also, work with the state to ensure that the people get power. What is the missing link? Is there more like a regulatory problem that the state are still facing, despite the fact that we have an act on the ground that empower them to generate their own electricity?
No, I think it's the commitment, it's the political will to do it. You know, like I said, the governors, if they are committed, they should be able to achieve that. Everybody has been advocating for states to come in and participate. Now they have been given the chance. The opportunity is there, but they are not. So I think it's really the governors that should embrace this opportunity and make sure that they serve their people.
Is it an issue of infrastructure?
That is one, infrastructure and funding and investment. So the moment state governments establish these agencies, is for them to provide level playing ground and encouragement for investors to come. They all know, they go out, they look for investors in some other aspects. So that is an opportunity. There are a lot of investors out there waiting to have opportunity, particularly for this solar. I have come across a lot of them, and we have made advanced proposals to some state governors, but nothing comes out of it. So I think that there's really need for them to wake up.
There's a lack of sincerity of purpose.
Sure.
Indeed. Let's look at the power sector. You have talked about quite a good number of issues, and some of the key challenges that the power sector witnessed in 2025 is the issue of liquidity crisis, there's infrastructure deficit, there's metering gap, and of course the energy theft, which is very critical. The supply-demand imbalance is also an issue as well. There's a regulatory and policy issues that was said, the issue of security and vandalism. There's macroeconomic pressure as well, talking about inflation, the currency fluctuation, fuel supply risk, and quite a good number of them. Now, we're in 2026. These challenges still exist. What sort of outlook do you expect from the power sector? I don't want to begin to talk about the ministry and so many others, but Nigerians are still concerned that despite the epileptic nature or the unconvincing nature of the power sector, a government or the federal government still retain the same people to manage that sector.
Well, I would like to add here that what we need is commitment from all and sundry. When you look at the power sector, there are a lot of opportunities even for business. So these our able and big business people, such as Dangote Bua and the like, should also key into the power sector.
But many of them don't even rely on the national electricity.
They
have their own power station.
But it's not the best. Why don't they provide, a more formidable outpost that can serve themselves and the nation instead of their business alone? It will, in the long run, it will be cheaper.
They run private business. These are private business operators.
I know,
who care more about their businesses. They pay tax to the federal government. Dangote, for example, is the highest taxpayer to the federal government. So federal government is obligated to, supply power.
What I'm saying is, with this opportunity of independent power producing, so they should also key in. That's what I'm saying. Like I gave an example of Adeleke, who has, one of the biggest power plants. They have the capacity, they have the means. Why then each one of them endeavor to provide 1,000 megawatts plant? That is what we need to aggregate so that we have a more volume of supply. We have people like just of recent, the management change hand in Gregu. Abdulaziz Yari came in and participated. So we hope he will pump in more money and expand that power station. So a lot of them who has big pockets should also come in. In the distribution side too, even with the way things are, a lot has been done in terms of profitability. When we came in 2022, AEDC is having a negative shareholding. But now, at least, I'm proud to say that with what is happening, there is a dividend that can be declared to the shareholders. So it's not a bad business at all. So people should be encouraged to come in, invest. Just like they're investing in oil and gas and other things, they should also invest in power so that collectively we have a boost. And what we have, our highest generation capability is 13,000 compared to our population of 250 million. We need a minimum of 100,000 megawatts, but we are not there. So unless an able body put in efforts to ensure that we boost the generation, we will not get to that.
Another issue again is the business environment. Business environment is not so conducive for some investment. But should we now have to rely on private individual for us to provide power for Nigeria when it does seem that government is not taking the lead? If government is doing it the right way, perhaps this individual that you mentioned can actually take the cue from them and say, okay, since government is doing it the right way, let me contribute my own quota. For example, we talk about the Minister of Power, for example. He's been in the saddle now since August 2023, which is nearly over 2 years plus now. A lot of people have argued that how can you put somebody whose knowledge is deep in, has a deeper knowledge in finance to manage the power sector? And it's, to some people, it's reflecting.
Well, I think we need everybody, finances, we need engineers, we need everybody to really. So the only thing is just for the government to identify the right people who can do the work, not on political ground. Yeah.
Now, it does seem to you now the consideration is more political than the real professional.
Of course.
All right. In 2026 now, what sort of outlook do you expect to see in the power sector? What are your expectations this year?
Well, my expectation is that...
Do you expect more grid collapse? No. Do you expect grid modernization? Do you expect more meter distribution to customers?
I don't want to be pessimistic. I always want to be optimistic. So I expect us to have improvement in all those aspects you said. And what needs to be done is to have the commitment of all, government and stakeholders, the operators. Everybody should be committed to ensuring that we succeed in 2026.
Let's look at AEDC now, Abuja Electricity Distribution Company. What are your challenges in making sure that Abuja residents enjoy and beyond, enjoy adequate power supplies. What are your challenges and what are your expectations this year? Those complaints, that report that we saw there is an Abuja report.
Well,
I
yes.
mean, consumers, they're complaining.
Of course, the major challenge there is on the metering, aspect.
What are the limitations? Can you not meter your consumers?
No, it's not that we cannot meter them. Like I said, it's the ponds to provide the meters. Government has to now provide some kind of intervention in metering. As much as we have a lot of support from World Bank and other agencies, we should.
But AEDC, you just told us that it's making profit. It's already making profit. Is that not enough, at least, to push for the metering of consumers?
That profit is not enough because you cannot just concentrate on metering alone. You have to expand the network. You have to provide more transformers. You have to provide more lines. So a lot is needed in terms of infrastructure to be able to deliver reliable and quality power supply. So metering and other infrastructure needs requiring funding is also very critical.
All right. As we wrap up the conversation now, what hope are you going to give your consumers now who are actually watching you right now? I mean, the challenges is there. We understand. You talk about the issue of metering, which a lot of people will prefer. But as of today, many of them are paying for meters. I have paid for it over about 2 or 3 times. But what kind of hope are you giving consumers now with regards to what to expect in terms of power supply, especially with regards to metering?
Yeah, well, we are doing our best because I know we have a plan to change all the obsolete meters, starting with band A. And I believe over 60, if not more, of all our customers in band A are having functional meters. And we are continuing to change the obsolete meters and give them, and where they don't have meters or faulty ones, we replace them. And all these are free of charge. We don't ask customers to pay. Where we have challenges is maybe new customers who are coming in, new installations, new premises. If we don't have these meters, then we can ask you to key into the meter as a provider to pay for the meter. But for those who are having obsolete meters, we are changing them for free.
Another thing is a band review. There's band A, there's band B, there's band C, and band D. I mean, as the case may be. There are instances where somebody in band A will say, I'm not getting as much power as I deserve to get. I want my band to be reviewed. Is that possible?
Well, we had such a case in, I think, either Kogi or Niger. We have such a case when we have to reverse. We have to change customers from band A to B for obvious reasons. But as soon as those challenges were overcome, they will be reverted back to band A.
Band A.
Yeah. But it's my hope and believe that this service-based tariff will soon go so that we have a unified tariff that everybody will pay, which is as close as possible to cost-reflective tariff, so that we don't end up discriminating our customers.
Are we going to get to that point where everybody's going to be on band A? It's a gain for the power sector.
Yeah, I'm not saying all of them band A. We can have a meeting point, maybe band C, where everybody pays that irrespective, and that tariff is very close to cost reflective, and then we'll have a good liquidity for the sector.
All right, I think we'll have another conversation on cost reflective tariff on another day because our time is already fast spent. Thank you so much, Dr. Atiku Tambuwal, a senior board member of AEDC and former MD of TCN. We appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. With that is a wrap on the show today. We'll be back here again tomorrow. I am Yusuf Akogu.